Hey, it's Mike at Cross Country Mortgage, and it's time for your Monday morning mortgage update for the week of August the 26th, end of September, end of August, not September, August. Time is flying. So, what happened last week? What's going to happen this week? Always try to give you info, tools, tips, tactics, things that you can use when you go out and talk to your buyers and sellers and have more impactful conversations. So, last week, wow, some really interesting data that came out that is very positive for mortgage rates, but we didn't really see a big movement. I'll just show you the chart really quick here. So if we look at last week, we had a 19 basis point improvement, meaning money flowed into the bond market, but it really only shifted 19 basis points. We probably should have had a lot more change, but that may come this week. So what happened last week? Basically, Jerome Powell, and all the other economic leaders met in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for this annual economic symposium. And they talked about the economy globally. And the Fed, it was theoretically a Fed meeting, even though the next big Fed meeting that everybody talks about is in a few weeks. And basically what was conveyed is, hey, there's some signs of weakening economies, our weakening economy. And the Fed chair was pretty specific in his press report on Friday after the meeting. He said, and I'm going to quote here, time has come for policy to adjust. Time has come for policy to adjust. So what's that mean? It means Fed's cutting rates. They're going to cut rates in a couple weeks. The question is how much, a quarter point, a half a point, and that's really what this week's all about. The other thing that came out last week were the jobs numbers. If you didn't hear about this, so we know that jobs numbers come out every month. We've been talking about this, and there's two basically big reports, ADP and BLS. Bureau of Labor Statistics is the BLS report, always comes out at the end of the week. And those numbers between ADP, which is actual data, and the BLS, which is a survey, have been off. And the survey, the BLS, is really controlled by the government, and nobody has believed these numbers. They don't add up. With all the other data that's coming out, all these jobs have been added. They just haven't believed them. So after they come out with these numbers, they always do these adjustments, right? And they do an annual adjustment every year. And they came out with the annual adjustment. 818,000 jobs disappeared in the last 12 months. That means that the numbers that they came out with, where people are using that to invest and know where to put their money and what's going to happen in the economy, they were off by over 30% of what they reported. They came out with this adjustment and said, oops, sorry, we made a mistake. We really didn't add 818,000 jobs to the economy. So let's just move forward. It's a big number. It's not like 5% or 10%. Over 30% jobs just disappeared. They were never added. The numbers were skewed. They weren't right. They were wrong. They were getting wrong data, whatever you want to say. And so, I've been talking about how nobody really has believed these numbers, all the stuff I've been reading and listening to, and this just confirmed it. And the market reacted in a favorable way. And what this all leads to is what we're going to talk about this week, is that we're going to see rate cuts now. The economy is showing signs of weakness. The fact that 818,000 jobs were not added to the economy when they said they were is a sign of weakness. Jerome Powell saying, hey, the data is supporting that maybe the economy is starting to weaken. We're going to cut rates. It's happening. So we're looking at really three things this week: inflation and jobs. What will the Fed say? What will all those Fed members say this week? And consumer confidence. So big report coming out Friday, the PCE. This is the main report that the Fed uses to determine if they're going to cut rates or not. And it's the main inflationary report that they use. And it's a consumption index. And that comes out Friday. And if it's below expectations, we're going to see rates get better. If it's in line with expectations, probably see rates stay flat, maybe even get a little bit better. If it's above, which nobody expects it to be, then maybe rates get a little worse. But all of that being said, no matter where it comes in, the Fed's pretty clear we're going to cut rates in a couple weeks at the next Fed meeting. The other report, jobs, isn't coming out this week, but it's next Friday. And is it going to really support this big adjustment that I talked about with the 818,000 jobs, that fewer jobs are being added? Is inflation going to go up? So the next two Fridays are going to be very, very impactful. And that jobs report coming out Friday is ahead of the Fed meeting the following week. So A lot of big reports coming out in the next couple of weeks that's going to determine not if the Fed's going to cut rates, but how much are they going to cut them? 0.25%, 0.5%. There's support on both sides of that. The next thing is, what will the Fed say? So the Fed members will be coming out this week talking. Are they going to be in line with Jerome Powell's report on Friday? A lot of people pay attention to that. There's a lot of Fed members that thought we should have cut rates months ago, and some think that we shouldn't cut rates. So how is that going to be interpreted by the bond traders and the economists and the media? And the last thing, consumer confidence. 2 reports coming out this week on what is the consumer feeling. Are they feeling confident in the economy? Are they spending money? If those numbers are weak, that's positive for rates. And that really, if they're weak, when they have been weak, if it continues, if it's worse, that just shows signs that the economy is weakening. So what are we doing this week? We're floating this week really into Friday. If we see obviously an adjustment and the worst, we'll lock, but floating right now. If you have any questions about rates, don't hesitate to give me a call. If you know somebody could benefit from this video, please send it to them. Have a great productive week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.